Slowly come back to your body consciousness. At the count of 5, keep your hands, palms on your eyes. And open your eyes with a beautiful smile. Hello all, good afternoon. Welcome to day 5 of Divine Design. I hope all of you have been catching up with the recordings and also comfortable with what has been shared here. In case you have any doubts, you can always ask. Before we start, I wanted to clarify, I wanted to share a few things that I learned recently and which just came to my awareness. So yesterday or day before, I think day 3 or day 4, somebody was asking about health issues, right? They were asking about why do we keep suffering, why in terms of diseases and things like that. We were talking about it. So I wanted to also share with you, this is what Patriji had told in one of his talks, where he said, Patriji is, for those of you who don't know, Brahmarshi Pitama Patriji, Subhash Patri. He is the founder of Pyramid Spiritual Society Movement of India, where they are focused majorly in spreading meditation, Anapanasati meditation, and helping people realize their own selves so that they can lead a very successful life with a lot of awareness, right? So that is what their focus is, and also spreading plant-based lifestyle and encouraging people to go more plant-based. Okay, so that is the idea of PSSM. So he's an enlightened master. He was enlightened in about 1979, I think. So in one of his talks, he was sharing about this. So I thought, let me just share with you because it was in connection with what we discussed. What he was telling was everything in the cosmos is maintaining a sense of balance. So what is a profit for you can be a loss for somebody. What can be a loss for somebody can be a profit for you, which means there's a gain and a loss. And this is always there in the cosmos. For example, if that God concept, right? If the essence, the God, right? The God that I was showing about here, right? If that essence of that God is present in every single thing in the mirror consciousness, if the entire mirror consciousness is based on that God only, right? Then whether it is a loss in some or a profit in something else, it really does not matter, because in your reality, you are the only one. And everything that you see in your reality is a mirror consciousness, right? So if you think that, for example, if you think that I paid too much for the tomato and you felt cheated because you're paying too much for the tomato prices have hiked or whatever it is, then who is standing to gain there? Farmer is standing to gain. I mean, let's not now, for example, talk about middleman and all the corruption and all of those things. I'm not talking that at all. Let's say you went under loss because you paid more and somebody got benefited from that. I'm not going to go to gratitude concepts and all of those things here because yeah, from a money perspective, let's say even if you're spending, you are basically, from a money energy perspective, you are still gifting somebody. So which means you have money, which is why you actually gave. So that is also a perspective to look at. So which is what we discussed a lot in the gratitude class, which is why we have to be grateful and things like that. But generally, for the sake of this example, I'm just saying that, let's say you went under a certain loss and somebody went under a certain gain, because you lost money and somebody gained money. In that sense, you are still the person who has gained, because it is still your mirror, which is your own creation, your own reflection that has to gain in this whole thing. So what he was saying was, whether you stand to gain or whether they stand to gain, it is ultimately you only who actually gained from this whole exercise. So you have to be happy for them. Gratitude book, the magic book, power book and all that, they definitely talk about be happy for what you see in your experience. But then this is a way of looking at it, because they are a part of your reality. So be happy for anybody, for irrespective. Now, and he also talks about, let's say you lost somebody in your life, somebody died in your life, like somebody moved on. So you are very sad because you lost that person, but that person gained in this whole exercise, because he's moving on to, he finished this life of being bonded in this body, and now he's moved on to the spirit realm, which is a higher realm, and to his next journey or whatever it is. So technically, death is considered to be a happy thing, because there is a lot of liberation in that, sense of liberation, sense of understanding who I am. All that will come, of course, with the attachment to the body only, that there is amnesia. But once you're detached from the body, you have a sense of knowing. So that knowing comes, the sense of relief, the sense of freedom and all comes. So that is why it's death is considered to be a would you say, a good thing for the at a soul level. So it is a gain for that person, the person who left, means the consciousness that left. For that, it's a gain. For you, it's a loss. So technically, why can't you be happy for that person? From your point of view, you are sad. From that person's point of view, they are happy. So why can't you be happy for them? Because if you think from your point of view or their point of view, that is actually still your point of view only, is what his claim was. And he was also saying that that is what is the sign of an enlightened person. The sign of an enlightened person is not only a person, they look at their point of view and are selfish about what only they want, what I got, what I have, what I don't have, what I lost, versus you are also looking at somebody else's point of view also, who's in your own reality. So think about this. Now I'll give you one more twist. Another twist is, what he also says is, now there is Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha is the god and Prakriti is that mirror image I spoke about, right? Now, everything in Prakriti, for that matter, including this body, is also a part of Prakriti. Now, if in this evolution journey, everybody is supposed to evolve. Earth is supposed to evolve, human body is supposed to evolve, the inner consciousness is also evolving through the body. Everything is actually happening, right? So now let's say this is God, right? This is the God. I'll get an orange here. Now this is God, and this is the mirror consciousness. Now, what actually happens is, if everything is same, it is all going on like this only, like there is no change. Now, if the mirror consciousness goes up, or it goes down, or it goes into the side, or it goes this side, which means it is misaligned. Okay, it's not aligned here. What does it mean? It deviated from the path, right? It deviated from the path. When it deviates from the path, what happens? It is not in alignment with this, right? It is not in alignment with this. So what happens? That will actually create a challenge. It will create a karma. Okay, that is what is called karma. Karma means you are now not aligned with this God. You are now moved away. You've basically shifted. So that shift, what happens? It creates a challenge in your life, or it creates some deviation. So that deviation, actually, in the process of working on that deviation to bring it back to the center, right? You when we deviate like this and then come back to the center, what happens? Typically, there is one kind of manifestation that happens, right? So that is what it results in. It results in a manifestation, which means energy is disturbed. So at that time, you create a certain karma, or what, anything for that matter. You can call it disease, you can call it problem in life, anything. Basically, just say one deviation, some breakdown. Okay, so in the process of working on that breakdown, what happens? You will stand to gain in that whole exercise, because you are learning something far more important. Okay, you're with me so far? So if there is a deviation in life, we all know that in the process of working on the deviation, you usually have a certain lesson. So if you have a disease in life, then there is a lesson to be gained from the diseases. So, okay, there is a lesson to be gained from that. So you get wisdom every single time you pass through a challenge successfully. You have always stood to gain from that. So what he also says is, now, let's say you have a disease inside the body. For example, he calls it cancer. He gave an example of cancer. Now, let's say there's a cancer inside the body, right? So, anything, cancer, pain, whatever you want to call it, so body is now going through. Body cells are now basically misaligned, isn't it? Body cells are basically misaligned. But why did they get misaligned? Because you, as consciousness, went off like this, and that off decision brought a certain experience which is inside the body. Now body is now going through some ups and downs. Now this is called disease, or it is called lack of health, or whatever it is. Now who is under loss? You, the ego, or whatever it is, that inner person who thinks that my body is now suffering and all of those things, right? Pain, problem, suffering. I can't move my leg, I can't move my hand, this is uncomfortable, that is uncomfortable. All that part is a loss for you. But who is actually gaining from this whole thing? The body is actually gaining from this whole thing. Have you I mean, we all know that body goes through a self healing process. Body has an innate healing ability. How is actually body healing itself? So the background to that is, the body heals itself because it has an internal motivation to heal. There is some internal drive to heal, right? So the way you also pass through problems and things like that, similarly, the body also has an inner conscious, the prakriti conscious, or whatever you can call it, the nature, you can call it nature. Nature has the ability to heal from that, because for that, in the process of evolution, nature also has to go through that evolution process. And this purusha has an obligation, or you can say it is because both are one and the same, right? It always takes every part of its creation along in the part of evolution. The job of this creator is basically to give all these thoughts and other things, right? So it will carry every single portion of this through that evolution. It is not just these sparks. So these sparks in turn eventually became bodies, right? So every bit of that body also has to go through evolution. So what does that mean? The body is very happy. You are not happy because you are not connected to your body. You don't know, you can't speak to your cells and whatnot, right? So in that sense, if you're enlightened or something, maybe you can basically connect at that level. But if you are not enlightened, if you're not able to connect at that level, every single portion of your diseased body is very happy, because they know that I am going through a process of evolution. And this shift, they were basically very normal, all healthy cells. Now there is a disease in that cell. Now that cell is apparently very happy, because it knows that this challenge is going to actually evolve me. It is going to make me better than who I was. Because every cell also has that wisdom. Every cell has that universal consciousness. Every cell has that knowledge within it, the wisdom within it. So even at a cellular level, you may not be connected, but every single diseased body is very happy. So in that sense, what happens? You may be at loss because you're suffering, right? You have pain and other things, but your body is actually standing to gain from that. And whose body? Who you are connected to the same body. So from the point of view of the body, be happy. Because if the body is ultimately standing to gain at some point in time, you will also gain in that process only. So never ever be unhappy in any situation, and acceptance is the only thing to go forward. Because if you take from any point of view, any problem in life, any situation in life always has a gain, provided you start looking at it from somebody else's point of view also. So this is it's a very good message. It helps you develop a lot more acceptance in life, right? So for me, it was a very powerful message, because I have never thought from body's point of view anytime. I knew that body had an innate healing ability, all that I knew, but then this, I mean, it was not like he gave me all this level of detail. He didn't explain this level of detail, but I understood at this level of detail because I'm already on that space of healing and all that. So I understood at that level of detail, right? So, yeah, I hope you can also connect to this, and then I hope it resonates with you, right? So let us go back to the chapter today. Okay, so this is so today we are starting this 1.5 chapter. It's called Creating the Galactic Federation of Light. So till now, what we have understood is we understood about the intention of Earth, and then we also understood how everything, how Earth itself or anything on Earth will basically go through a process of. So we've understood what is a process of evolution, and what all happens in the process of evolution. Okay, so now we are going to talk about what exactly happened in the in now that Earth is all ready and she has a plan and all that. Now what next happened? Earth sent out an energetic call for assistance in creating her experiment and for guidance through the experiment. We are the council of 12 higher dimensional light beings that answered her call. So when they say we, it means this book, whoever wrote that book in the physical form is Laurie Ladd. But who gave her this information? Who is she channeling? She's channeling this set of people, set of energy beings called the Galactic Federation of Light. And this is not the first time I'm actually reading this word. It is there in many multiple books. And even across Facebooks, if you join some groups which are like Dolores Cannon groups, or there are many such groups. So if you talk about there also, they refer to something similar. Okay, so we are the council of 12 higher dimensional light beings that answered her call. Once we understood Earth's intention, we created the Galactic Federation of Light, which means a government kind of thing, cosmic government. Okay, we needed much more assistance designing the experiment and ensuring Earth would be safe to navigate the experiment. Okay, so they see it's like hey, why don't you only do whatever you want? They didn't do that. They're all very high love beings. So helping each other is a part of their nature. So they came. We needed much assistance. So we had thousands of higher dimensional consciousnesses from many different dimensional fields answering the call. Most of these were light beings from larger collective consciousnesses existing between the 9th dimension and the 24th dimensional fields. Okay, there are many such dimensional fields, and in that, people who answered the call was between the 9th and the 24th dimensional fields also. As the beings were formed into one large federation, we created councils. So 12 people answered the call, right? But they needed a larger group, like a project team, to answer this thing. So they made groups, they made some project teams. What are those project teams? Like 12 people are those leaders, and under the leaders there were other people who will now be working. I'll just call them people just for the sake of simplicity, right? Other beings were under them from the 9th to 24th dimensional fields. As these beings were formed into larger federation, we created councils. These councils allowed for group of beings within the federation to have a specific task and role within Earth's larger experiment. Each council contained about 120 beings. Okay, now there are let's say you can say each group had 120 beings. 12 beings were in charge of each council. Now, in each group there were 120 people, and 12 people were in charge of 120 people. Okay, so 12 into 10. So which means each person would be managing that much. 12 beings were in charge of each council, and each being had 10 beings assisting them. So total 120 people. In that 120 people, 10 people were under one person. Okay, so that was how they were dividing their tasks. Our council of 12s oversaw all councils within the federation. So these 12 people, right, the higher dimension 12, they were not within these councils. They were overseeing the council, right? They were like higher leaders. There are councils focused on technology to assist the Earth in Earth's density. Now, Earth's density, what all has to happen when she's in that dense area, all that. See, because everything is a part of creation here. Everything is going to be created. Nothing is actually existing, right? Even they say Earth plane also, Earth's physical body, nothing has been actually created. It's just still in planning stage. There are councils focused on security of Earth, ensuring her physical form remains intact. There are councils focused on activating and upgrading Earth and humanity. There are councils focused on assisting all of the physical forms on Earth other than the human being. Councils focus on assisting specific light workers incarnated in human form, working in larger communities such as government, religious, financial institutions, and scientific, which means all these scientists and all that. The councils and all light beings within each council play a significant role in Earth's revolution. So there is a whole team of project team, or let's say project governance, right? A project governance that is basically overseeing this whole Earth's operations. Now, how did the Earth got created? The Earth plane was the first thing we created after the Galactic Federation. Now the Federation was formed, right? Planning and who's going to do what, all that was planned. Now the actual execution. We created the physical body through intent and energy instantaneously. And it was all creation, right? So it was they had to bring an intention into it, and then instantaneously it got created. So see, all of these beings in this whole council, they are all at a higher level, which means they still have oneness inside them. They are not in the physical yet. Okay, nobody is in the physical here. So everybody is in that state of soul level only, which means in that source. They are all connected to source, which means if I am also a part of that and you are also a part of that, if what I think is equal to what you think, and both of us are thinking the same. Okay, it's like that. It's not that I am separate and you are separate. There is no separation in this layer. So if you hear somebody saying you only created this tree, you only created the sun, you only created the moon, in many books we see this, right? You only created everything, you only created everything. So this, when they say you only created, it means that at a higher level, your higher dimensional consciousness, not the body, your higher dimensional consciousness, in that layer, you were also a part of that creation. You also participated in that creation process. That is why they say you. And since it was all it was all one mind. They call it one mind, right? In that one mind, everything happens at the oneness state. Everybody is, collectively doing it. Everybody knows everything, kind of thing. Okay, so don't be surprised when you say you only created and all that. But yeah, you may not have created when you were like in your current state, but at some other state you would have created it. So when creating the planet, we use the energy into planetary when we intend It may be challenging to conceptualize how a planet is created instantaneously through intent energy, yet everything in the quantum field is created this way. When we intend to create a physical form from Earth, first we must see it, feel it, and understand its frequency. When creating the planet, we use the energy of our own vibration, the 12th dimension, and we intend that the energy into a planetary form within the lower dimensional field, the 5th dimension. So what it actually means is, see, have you heard about manifestations? People have, many people talk about manifestation, law of attraction and all of that, right? So law of attraction is still under play. Okay, that is a very fundamental law. So law of attraction is still working here. So here law of creation is also there. So there are many laws that play here. So what they are doing is, they were here like this. Now what they did, they went off, and then they intended, when you go off like this, depending on what is your intent, what is your focus, where you're putting that energy, all that creation happens. And when you come, which means when you think something that does not exist, what happens? You are moving to the future. So future is up. Let's say we'll move the hand up. So I go to the future, which means my mind goes to the future, my thinking goes to the future, the thinking substance goes to the future, and I'm able to visualize or think or see it in my mind. But I mean, these are all clairvoyant people, right? So they can see everything and all that. They have all that stuff. So they go here, they see everything in the future. Earth is going to be like this. It's going to be like this. And because there's so much of knowledge, past, present, future, all that, every knowledge is basically there. You just have to just go here, chuck, think about it. And then when you come back to that center, what is actually happening is you put energy there. If once you put all the mind there, thinking and all those things, you come back to the center, and then you have already put energy in creating this, right? So when you come back, it has already been formed. So that is what is called manifestation. It is immediate manifestation. You think about something, you finish your thinking, and then you are here, it is already ready. But they are all in the 12th dimensional plane where there is no physicality. So what they did, they thought in the 12th dimension, and they intended that this creation happens in the 5th dimension. Okay, so that was a part of the intention that they did when they put their hand up, kind of thing. Creation can only occur within the dimensional field one is standing in, that we had already seen, right? But therefore we created all the forms, including the earth plane and the 12th dimensional, from the 12th dimensional energy. So they intended to create everything in the 5th dimensional plane. So earth stood in the 5th dimensional plane, which means the physical thing stood in the 5th dimension. So technically what happened, energy from the 12th, jing, 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 you can just imagine, okay? You can just imagine that energy, fast moving energy, 12 speed fan was slowly reduced to 5th speed fan. Okay, so that is what it actually means. So the frequency of that light was basically shrunk to 5th speed or 5th dimensional speed, and then it actually see, that speed can be shrunk, and anything can take place, any form can happen. But since they intended that manifestation is basically going to be physically called earth, and that is what it actually became, because that is what they'd seen, no? That is what they had visualized when they did that. The energy we are alchemizing into the 5D exists in what is called the light codes. Okay, so in the those light, the light that light codes that base, what do you say, the light that actually slowed down from 12, it basically slowed down to become 5, right? And in that light code, there are what do you say, you can say programming that has been done to say what it will basically express out in the 5th dimension. From the 12, there were programming done in the 12 in those light codes, and then it basically came down, and then it actually physically became that, because that was what the programming was. Okay, so these codes I mean, when I say code, don't think about programming code or something. It is just basically, just think about some, how can I say what is code? Just say some programming only at a higher level, energetic programming. So these codes hold the intention of what we are creating, the physical 5D earth plane. So it knows, every single code knows what exactly it's going to become. We intended the vision of the physical form into 12D light codes through the energy and telepathy. So there is no talking and all that. It's all telepathy, which means mind to mind, everything at mental level. You can imagine circles of light, if you will, swirling in front of you. With your intention and visualization, you intend the light to hold the form you're creating. So basically, if you have seen movies and all that, now let's say one circle is, it is basically twirling around here. And then you just do, you do, and then basically it becomes a form. Something like that. We've seen all that in many, all these movies and serials and all that, no? Something like that. So that is what they are also saying. We energetically infuse the light codes with the intended physical form of the planet. The codes held the physical intention energetically. We then slowed the energy of the light codes down from 12D to 5D. So that's what they said. They went from 12th speed to 5th speed. As the light codes slowed down, they began to form the intent held within the 12D light codes. The light within the codes alchemized into a denser, crystallized matter, creating the intent form. So when they slowed down that light, okay, with the light within the codes, alchemized means the very first step that we did, right? Alchemization, what is that? Alchemization. Assimilation, acclamation. So something like that. So where is it? Amazon. Sorry, alchemized is not whatever. It's not the first step. Alchemization is another chemistry word. It basically slowed down into a denser crystalline matter, creating the intended form. Okay, whatever that programming was. The codes automatically shifted into the physical form because they held the intention of that form within their light. The form is created when energy is slowed down. So from the 12, I can think of whatever intention and put it into that code. And when that code comes down, it will actually become that form that was intended. The 5D planet became crystalline physical structure. What began as an intention in the 12D turned into physical form in the 5D. The design of her form was always to allow her to shift into 7D. Okay, so that was what the plan was. I'll go to 5D. From there, I will come back to 7D. I'll climb up to 7D. So it had to become, what do you say, dimension friendly. It's not like it had to be compatible with 6D and 7D. So that is how they had already put into program. We knew that whatever we created needed to be able to sustain a 7D field. So which means it had to also be able to sustain that six speed and 7 speed also. A form that holds less density, allows an easier transition shifting into light. So less density means 6D, 7D. 7D is lesser denser than 6D. 6D is lesser denser than 5D. So which means light, transition of light, shifting into light is easier. I mean, the movement of those light codes are easy in the higher planes. When in a denser form, it is slower. That is why they call it slower. We chose a shape that would allow for the ease of energy to flow through and around the planet and provide the ability to hold the mass. So what did they chose a shape where energy could move very nicely around the planet and all that. So that was the shape that they thought about. So around the planet also, like we have already discussed that every person has an aura or that energetic field, right? Similarly, Earth also has that energetic field around her. We created a disc-like elongated form that would enable her to expand more easily. Apparently, in this 5D, Earth is more elongated like this, like an oval. And something like, I think it is more like this Saturn ring elongated. When they say elongated disc-like kind of thing, Saturn ring kind of thing. which would enable her to expand more easily like a rubber band. The shape wasn't too wide or too thin. It allowed the form to hold density and be physical, yet not take up too much of mass, which would make shifting dimensional fields more difficult. They wanted the shape to be so friendly that when it actually jumps into the lighter dimension, it will actually not be too difficult for her to evolve into the 6D or 7D eventually. Once we created the initial 5D form, we began to make some subtle energetic touches within the form. We needed to ensure Earth's consciousness could reside within this form. So, which means now Earth has to get attached to this form, right? We created through intent an etheric body similar to similar to human etheric body that would hold her higher consciousness while in the 5D form. So etheric body is more of the template, something, now this is physical, right next to that is the etheric body, which means it has a shape and form which is similar to this physical. So that they created for Earth, so that Earth can get connected to that light body instead of this physical body. See, this, to connect to this physical body, that should be another layer. Directly, they can't connect to physical. They have to connect to our subtle body, to that subtle body, like they call it astral body and all that, right? So something like that. So they have a subtle body. So the soul or the higher consciousness is connected to that subtle body. Okay. This energetic body would allow her a safe experience shifting from 5D to 7D. So they believed that this energetic body would basically help her to also go experience those higher forms. Earth's energy, physical body's energy will be increasing. See, when we say that Earth's physical body is increasing, it also means that she should still be able to connect that. No, let's say she's connected. She's connected to the physical body. Now, that mentally she should be able to travel like this. Mentally means that that body, that subtle body only should be able to keep going from higher, lower to higher. We designed an energetic channel that would allow Earth to stay aligned and connected to the quantum field, ourselves, and all the other aspects of her, including source. So this, they created an energetic channel, means you saw that, right? So energetic channel, I think, what did I say? Just a minute. Huh. Something like a electric circuit. Like we also have an electric channel in our subtle body, in our etheric body, which is called the nadi, right? We have the 72,000 nadis and all that, which carries electric current or the energy around and inside. So something like that. They also have created an electrical channel that would allow Earth to stay aligned and connected to the quantum field. So that is how we get connected to our quantum field, and that is how Earth also gets connected to the quantum field, right? That is what, which means energy movement is happening in those channels, and that channel is called a nadi. In our yoga terms, it is called the nadi. Okay. um we so that will help her get connected to the what do you say, get connected to the whole of the system. We also designed an electric field around her to ensure that she would remain sovereign within her experience. So it's more like a shield. So nobody can basically tamper with her. She now has a Lakshman Rekha around her, something like that. Okay. So that is called she has an energetic field. We also have an energetic field, right? We all have an aura around us. Everything has an aura around us. Everything has an aura around it. So that is called the energetic field around the body. Sovereign means single. She's unique and nobody really is coming to bother her, and nobody can tamper with her. That's something like that. Creating physical forms. One of the unique aspects of Earth's experiment was that she wanted to allow higher dimensional consciousness to experience this shift with her. So she didn't want to do this alone. She wanted company. Okay, so what did she do? These consciousnesses would have the option to enter a physical form on her planetary body. they would be able to experience a very low dimensional field without having to be anchored in the dimensional field. So what she's saying is, if let's say Earth is in her fifth dimension, but I can still be in my third dimension. She's saying they will have their separate thing. When if they are with me, they can also experience everything and they are free to go on wherever they want, kind of thing. Let them be like she has her separate journey, we have our separate journey, but at the same time, what she say, they would be able to experience a very low dimensional field without having to be anchored in the dimensional field, which means everybody don't have to be there, but they can experience lower ones also, she's saying. Like Earth, they too would be moving their consciousness into 5D form to experience the 5D field. So whatever she did, they also have to do, but they are free to go lower also and experience a lower consciousness also, is what she had planned. Okay, we needed to design 5D physical forms on the planet that would allow higher dimensional consciousnesses to incarnate onto the 5D Earth plane to participate in her experiment. So now if she's calling people, now like the way they created that physical Earth, they had to create a physical form of everything, right? Everything needed to be physical. So which means again from the 12th dimension, they had to bring in light codes and then slow it down and make some more crystalline objects, clay models, whatever I can say. We created every physical form in the same way we created the Earth plane, through intent and energy. First, we needed to intend a specific form. For instance, when we had to choose to create what a human refers to as a tree, we had to visualize the form. We had to know all the details of how we wanted the tree to look like and feel. Once we held the intentions of the tree, we took 12D light codes holding the intention of the form and shifted the codes down to 5D frequency. Instantaneously, the form would appear on the earth plane. Every form we created held a higher dimensional consciousness within it. So which means even if you take a tree, there is somebody attached to the tree also. And it is not like a waste sitting there. Everybody is connected. I mean, everything that has life breathing into it has a soul also attached to it. Some higher dimensional consciousness wants to take that experience, so he's attached to it. So similar to earth plane, see in some more books, what they have also mentioned. Okay, wait, I'll talk about it. Similar to earth plane, every physical form was created with an energy field around it, a channel within its form, and an etheric body to hold the higher dimensional consciousness light quotient while participating on the earth plane. See, when they say an etheric body to hold the higher dimensional consciousness, means it is like this. I don't know if you know that this etheric body is like a silver cord. They call it the silver cord. They say the astral body is connected to the physical body through the silver cord. If you've seen pictures, or if you know about astral travels and all that, they say, when you may have seen or in pictures and all that, there is a cord that connects there's a silver cord, there's a energetic cord, like a thread or something that is connected to the physical body and that astral body that is running away, traveling and all of those things. So it, as long as that connection is there, you are alive. The body is alive. When the connection breaks, the body dies. That is like the electricity connection kind of thing. You can think like that. The energy is coming into the body. As long as energy keeps coming into the body, it is alive, it is functional. When the energy is not coming, it is dead. So this etheric body is like a silver cord. So that silver cord is holding the higher dimensional consciousness, which is the higher dimensional consciousness with the physical body. Or even for earth also, it's like that only. There is one earth, higher dimensional consciousness, and there is a earth, physical earth. Both are connected via that etheric plane only, etheric body only. We created thousands of physical forms at this time: animals, flowers, trees, rocks, crystals, insects, birds, plants, dragons, fairies, mermaids, whales, and more. We created every physical form you see on the planet now, and every physical form has a higher dimensional consciousness within it. And this was one of the most creative and enjoyable aspects of designing the earth plane. Okay, so in Ramtha book, what he actually says is, at this time, at this time, why do so there? He says, from his perspective, he says, let's say I created a rose, right? Me means some higher dimensional consciousness at that, in that creation intent and all that exercise. Somebody created a rose, and then somebody actually thought, wow, that rose is so good, I'll create something better than that. And every single one basically sparked the creativity of another person, or another thought, another thought kept coming, kept coming, kept coming. That is why there is so much of variety, they say. There is so much of variety in the on the planet, and this continued, this creative exercises started to continue. And when it actually, there came a time when there was a lot of competition also. It became a big competition. It went into a very lower form of energy. Lots of things, such things happened. Okay, I'll talk about it when we discuss that subject. But like this, that is why we have different kinds of animals, we have different kinds of flowers, we have different kinds of trees. It was the sky was the limit in terms of creativity, they say, right? And we know how beautiful creation is. That is because they continued to look at each other's creation and then created something better than that. And even in our own life, we have already seen that, right? So if somebody has experimented and created light or something like that, bulb, then somebody else creates some other bulb. They would create some other way of light expressing itself. So there has always been that one will always work on the idea given by others, or a product that other person has created. Another person is going to look at that product, and then he'll get some other idea, and then he'll work on that idea, and then that will become another product. So even on earth, we have always been witnessing that, right? So this is just the nature of how we are, and this has always happened at that time also. And this went to some amount of extreme over a period of time, and I'll talk about that extreme when the time comes, right? So yeah, so I'll stop here, and if you have any questions, you can ask. Yeah, you can unmute yourself. Any questions so far? No questions. Oh yeah, there were some questions on the group. No, I thought I'll answer that. Yeah, I think Sangeeta was asking this. Hi, I was listening to day 4 recording, and there you said we will have if we all have a fridge, so we are greedy. Could you please elaborate? So basically, I was trying to tell that we have a lot of stuff stocked up in our fridge, and do we use every single thing that we have in our fridge on a daily basis? We don't. So that is what is called greed. It is not called need. It is called greed. Need is something that you want in this now moment. But why do we stock up on all of those things? Because we have become we have become a community, or we have become those kinds of entities which are living in fear, and we don't even know we do all that because of fear. You can say actually fearless, but you still have your pantry is full of groceries, your fridge is full of groceries, because for some reason you feel that tomorrow I should not scramble and think that, oh my god, I don't have anything in the house to cook my breakfast or to cook lunch or whatever. So you may think that is very convenient, but that convenience has actually stemmed from fear, fear of lack, fear of holding on to things. I mean, if you have seen that in our community also, let's say this during Corona, what happened during Corona? They said lockdown was announced, and what actually happened? Everybody went to the stores and they ransacked the stores, right? They basically went and bought a lot of stuff. Economy goes down the drain. Supply and demand basically just goes down the drain when you say that something is going to happen in the future. and these are things are not going to be available for you. If you are very assured that stores are going to be open, then you know that you will go to the stores and everything is okay. But if somebody says that stores are not going to be open, what do? You stock it up, because you are in fear of losing out. You don't want to lose out that luxury, you don't want to lose out that comfort. And this has not been the state now, it has been there for a very, very long time. And unknowingly only we do that. So that is why I said greed. In fact, even in Mahabharata, when Krishna was talking about stealing butter and all of those things, it was basically a subtle message to say, why are you stocking up on everything? You keep whatever you use whatever you want right now, and then have an abundance mindset. Through that abundance mindset, you will anyway get whatever you want again and again and again in the now moment. You don't have to actually stock it. That stocking process itself stems from fear. So he used to basically go to their house and steal that butter and throw it and distribute it and all of those things he would do. He would basically do a lot of hangama there. So the meaning of that is, don't stock it. Develop that abundance mindset and just give it off. Just don't keep everything that is not necessary for you. And this concept is only called minimalism, and many of these things, it comes from the same root. But so that is why I said greed. I mean, we all are like that, okay? It's not like somebody else is greedy and I'm not greedy. Greedy, the word greedy is slightly more in from a very bad connotation. It comes with a very bad connotation. But greed is, the meaning of greed is more than need. More than need, you have something more than your need. That is what is called greed. Okay, Asha said you said mind can be at a higher dimension and the body in the lower dimension. Is it reverse? Is the reverse also possible? I think not. Correct. I think not. Correct me if I'm wrong, because body is a grosser energy. So I don't think it can be ulta. Body being in higher, because body is a reflection of that higher dimensional consciousness only. So mind is also a part of that body only. Mind is a subtle part of the body. Body is a physical part of the body. So mind and body goes along. Mind is one level before and body is one level after. So if you have diseases in your body, it is because your mind only created that disease in the body. And if your mind is aligned to a certain way of thinking, then the body's diseases also goes away. The mind only created the disease, mind only can heal the disease also. Okay, so it is like that. So when I say mind is in the higher dimensional consciousness, means basically you're thinking in that level and body is going to reflect living in that level. Yesterday I was also saying, right, how do you know that you are living in a higher dimensional consciousness compared to, so you can compare your life few months or few years before to what you are right now. And if you've seen betterment, if you've seen what do you say, health in general has been better, relationships in general have been better, then even finances have been better, that overall feeling of betterment, right? So that is what is also a reflection of evolution. You are growing, you have grown in terms of evolution, you've grown. And you can also reflect that with your, let's say you have sick parents, you have sick in-laws, you have sick children. All of these are also going to reflect that you are in a slightly lower dimension. And of course, through evolution over time, you might heal, the children will heal, suddenly the in-laws also will have great health, suddenly your parents also will have great health. How can you establish everybody in your consciousness is better and better in terms of health also? By working on yourself. That is the best way to heal or bring goodness everywhere. That is to bring light within you through your sadhana. It may not be overnight, but it is definitely a very, very systematic, it's a very 100% well guaranteed process that will actually guarantee that your people are in great health. If you want people around you to be in great health, you need to consistently work on yourself. work on cleaning yourself, cleaning your own inner klesh, they say, right? Or Arishad Vargas and all of those things. So your lower dimensional emotions. We'll come to that, but yeah. So if you clean yourself, that is also a reflection for um, how your people are and how. So you can reflect which part of the evolution you are, which level of the evolution you are. You can basically think. More problems means uh, also more lack of peace of mind, and it also depends on are you responding to that with that lack of peace of mind also. So how are you responding? That is also a reflection of how you are, where you stand, kind of thing. So for example, if you, let's say, have uh, parents who are, let's say, suffering with Parkinson, mother is also suffering with something else, then in-laws are also not very, so that because there have been stages where every person comes through that stage by stage, stage by stage, stage by stage, stage by stage. But best is to work on yourself as much as possible. It may not be a 1 or 2 month process, and then keep seeing your parents. Hey, I've been working on myself, and I did one Anushtasan, I did one gratitude exercise. Why is this? My father is still sick. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay, so it takes a few years. Give it 5 to 10 years and those kinds of things. It's a very uh, because that energy has to get reflected. No, you have to become a creator. It means that when you are cleaning yourself, you are also basically going up and down and up and down and up and down, and basically manifesting things in your reality without your own conscious. You are trying to align yourself with that God within you. So it's a process and it will take time. But I'm generally saying, how do you measure yourself? This is how you have to measure yourself. Okay, and yeah, I think there were no more questions. That's it. Any other questions so far? We have 4 more minutes. If you had any questions, then we can take it. Yeah, Abha, you can unmute yourself. And if you can come on video, that will help. You are on mute.
Yeah, I was unable to unmute myself. Just a thing that, say, when we meditate and when we feel that goodness within, or when we feel, that there's no thought or no mind for that particular fraction. Obviously, it is for a short while. So, when we touch that stage, which stage is it? The which stage is it, or it is on some of the dimension? Just out of curiosity.
It is still in the physical only. It is still
It's
in the
just
physical only. Yeah, it's still in the physical. See, we are all going to be operating in the physical for a long time, because even
okay.
fifth, sixth, seventh, everything is still a
So
very
when you experience total stillness, no thoughts, nothing, it's still in that physical.
actually, I don't know, because at that level, I mean, I have not really researched or thought about. That question did not come to me. But what I think is, thoughtless state is still not the void or anything. You are just touching that oneness with God, and you're coming back.
Sure.
See, many of these things, right, will give us a glimpse of what it feels like. I mean, it's more like a motivation to basically go higher, to practice evolution. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? No questions. Okay, no problem. I'm glad that all of you are understanding this quite well. So it's good. It's good. Okay. If anybody wants to share anything, maybe whatever is your takeaway, not questions, maybe something else that you want to share regarding the book, regarding how you feel about reading this or going through this or something like that? Anything about your experience with this book? How does it feel like to be a part of this? And do you feel any different? Yeah, Shivaranjani, tell me. You are on mute.
For the past 2 days, I couldn't attend, but today when I attended, I felt it was quite intense for me to take it, ma'am. And
You've not
but
seen the recordings?
no, I couldn't. I didn't have the. I couldn't watch the recordings. The 2 days recordings I couldn't watch, but I wanted to attend, like, because that's the time when my kids come back home. So
That's okay. That's okay. Because without understanding the previous recordings, I don't think you'll be able to really follow what I'm saying.
oh, okay, but sometimes I mean, in the classes, when the reading is going on or when you're talking, I get the answers to my questions.
That's very nice.
My questions or whatever doubt I had in my mind when I'm listening to it consciously, I get the answers
Wow.
many
Amazing.
times.
Good. Very
Not
good.
only in this, but even in the magic book or like whichever book we were reading. Sorry about the background. My son
No
is
problem.
crying. Yes, ma'am.
No problem.
Yeah,
No
this
problem.
is what I wanted to tell.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Hema?
Hi, Smita.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what I wanted to ask you is, like, initially you told about the shift in this thing, and we experience diseases and all that. So, similar is the case with emotions also. When you have negative emotions, and so there is a shift in the balance, and is that the same in that case also?
It actually is emotional. It starts with it starts like that only. The physical is first at an emotional level only.
Okay.
Some emotion that has not been released properly by the body becomes a physical thing.
Correct.
So at some point, if you are still in the initial stages of creating some future problem, if you have not released this emotion properly.
Okay. Okay.
So which is why all this knowledge and other things comes, so that we can apply it.
Okay.
But basically when there are so many experiences that we have already got, we are getting. We don't know when we created all that, right? Because there has been so much of our history where we've been in amnesia, where this knowledge was not even there in front of us. Today we are getting this knowledge. But what about the period where we did not have any of this knowledge? We just went off rogue kind of thing, right? Like we just went off left, right, and center. We were like running around. So at that time, we have done a whole lot of such creations, unknown creations, just so that we can get that experience. Because every time you think bad about somebody, that's also a creation. And it may not, if you put a lot of energy, then it anyway manifests in the physical here, in the 3D. But let's say you have put very little emotion, maybe 2 days only you thought about it and all that, it still gets created in some other dimension, where the energy was not so physical. Everything gets created. We are not like we create sometimes, we don't create sometimes. Everything gets created. A little more, less energy creation, more energy creation, denser energy creation. If something has to be like in the physical, then a lot of energy has to be put into it, lot of thoughts, lot of feelings, everything has to be dumped into that. Only then it becomes physical. But there are so many parts of our thoughts and creations which are not physical, but they're all at some other dimension, in the what do you say, it has not become physical, but it is there, and we experience all of those things as dreams. Because at some point also we are always experiencing. So soul is not wasting its time through this body, through that awareness I told, right? Through the physical body, physical awareness, through the mental and emotional body, there is always some form of awareness that it is using some body or the other through to further experiences. So dreams and all happen like that only. We don't know when we have thought about all that, but yeah, we have thought about all that. Thanks. Okay, if there are no more questions, then we can wrap up the call. Thank you very much for attending today. And thank you, Anita and Zoom. Thank you for all of you for showing so much of interest in this book. It may seem like a very dry book, but it's a very interesting book. I hope you all agree. Thank you so much.